Series Evil Lynx, Original, Ep.4, Dark Cave, The Terrifying Truth About the Cat-Faced Woman. The three children nodded in unison, their eyes meeting with determination. They understood that this mission would put an end to all the village's fears. Henry, Josh, and Lydia carefully lifted the cat statue, feeling the strange weight and remaining power within it, and began walking toward the depths of the cave. As they ventured deeper into the cave, they felt the cold air envelop them. The further they went, the thicker the darkness grew, obscuring everything around them. When they reached the center, in the pitch-black space where the moonlight was hidden, Lydia cautiously lit a candle, its faint glow illuminating the cave. Before them, a giant cat deity statue emerged, radiating an aura of mysterious majesty. Despite their fear, they remembered Mrs. Caroline's instructions and quickly placed the cat statue on the altar in front of them. "We're done," Josh whispered, a sense of relief starting to creep in. But just as they began to exhale, a strange noise echoed from behind them. They turned around and were met with a horrifying sight. Strange puppets with hollow eyes, grotesque faces, and gaping mouths. Their forms resembled children, their heads nodding lifelessly. A shrill, eerie laughter echoed throughout the cave, amplifying the terror. Lydia gripped Henry's hand tightly, her voice trembling. What are they?" Henry tried to stay calm, but his eyes betrayed his worry. Josh stepped forward, his voice resolute. "We can't stop here. Remember what Mrs. Caroline said. We have to complete the task." The puppets started to stumble closer, their movements jerky but haunting. The flickering candlelight cast long shadows of them on the cave walls, creating bizarre shapes. Josh quickly opened the ancient book, searching for any clue that could help them. "It says here," Josh read aloud, "after placing the statue on the altar, we must recite a spell to seal away the dark power forever." Henry nodded. "Then we must do it now." The three children huddled close together as Josh, trying to keep his composure, began reading the ancient spell aloud, his voice echoing through the cold cave. As the incantation continued, the children felt the tension in the air ease, and when the final words of the spell were spoken, the eyes of the cat deity statue suddenly emitted a blinding light, flooding the cave. The puppets staggered, frozen in place as if an invisible force held them back. The shrill, eerie laughter that had haunted the cave slowly faded away, leaving behind an eerie silence. They sighed in relief, thinking it was all over. But at that very moment, from the darkness, a familiar figure emerged. Henry's eyes widened as he saw Mrs. Caroline, the woman they had just freed. But she was different now, no longer the gentle woman once cursed, her hair now pure white. She wore a deep crimson dress, and her eyes were sharp and filled with malice. "Mrs. Caroline," Lydia gasped, her voice trembling, but the woman before them only smirked, a cold and dangerous smile. "I've been waiting for this moment for so long," she said, her voice echoing in the cave as if coming from a distant place. "Thank you, children, for breaking the curse. Now, I am no longer bound by any rules." The three children stepped back, fear quickly overwhelming them. Henry tried to stay composed, staring directly at Mrs. Caroline. "We helped you. Why are you?" Mrs. Caroline scoffed, her eyes glowing red like flames. "You children are so naive. I never needed freedom. This curse is my power. Thanks to you, I have regained all of my strength." With that, Mrs. Caroline slowly turned her head, her eyes filled with reverence as she looked toward the cat deity statue. Her lips began to murmur strange sounds, like a dark prayer. The children tried to speak, but they suddenly realized that their bodies were completely paralyzed, unable to move or make a sound. A chilling fear and coldness engulfed them. A gust of cold wind suddenly swept through the cave, carrying with it an icy chill that penetrated their bones. The moon slowly emerged from behind the clouds, its silver light shining directly on the cat deity statue, casting an eerie glow over the space. At that moment, Mrs. Caroline's body began to transform. Her wrinkled face sprouted thick, dark fur. Her eyes changed color, glowing with a strange green hue. She let out a sharp roar, the sound reverberating throughout the cave, before turning to face the three children. She bared her sharp teeth, her face now completely that of a monstrous cat, vicious and filled with hatred. A terrifying scream echoed through the cave, like the cry of a creature from the depths of hell. Henry, Josh, and Lydia were frozen in place, unable to move, unable to speak. Every effort to struggle, to run, was futile. Despair filled their hearts as Mrs. Caroline, now a monstrous cat creature, stepped closer with each passing moment. "I have waited for this moment for hundreds of years," Mrs. Caroline said, her voice raspy and dark. "This power is all I need for revenge, and you, who helped me, will now become victims of your own foolishness." It turned out that Mrs. Caroline was once a renowned witch in the village, respected for her ability to heal and protect the village from disasters. However, as time passed, her power began to wane, and the fear of death grew in her heart. To maintain eternal youth, she sought out the cat deity, an ancient, powerful entity that also harbored great danger. In exchange for immortality, Mrs. Caroline had to offer her soul and become a servant of the cat deity, gradually transforming into a monster. Now, with her power restored, Mrs. Caroline stared intently at Lydia, her cat eyes gleaming with greed and malice. An evil smile spread across her wrinkled face, revealing sharp teeth like blades. "How fortunate," she whispered, her voice dripping with triumph. "I finally found the perfect vessel to continue my life. And you are the chosen one." Mrs. Caroline's gaze flicked toward Henry and Josh, filled with contempt, her lips curling into a sinister grin. "How amusing," she mocked, her voice icy. "I'll have 2 new puppets to control." As she drew closer, the 3 children were paralyzed with terror, realizing that they would never leave this cave. Mrs. Caroline's overwhelming darkness engulfed them, and fear quickly swallowed their every thought. Lydia watched in horror as Mrs. Caroline used her monstrous hands to drain the life force from Henry and Josh. Their agonizing screams echoed in the cold space, gradually fading away. Lydia was horrified to see their souls being pulled from their bodies, their last frantic gazes now lifeless. She watched as their souls were trapped in 2 wooden puppets, swaying lifelessly. Mrs. Caroline turned, her cat eyes gleaming with hunger. "Now it's your turn," she whispered menacingly, advancing toward Lydia. She tried to struggle, but her body was frozen, despair rising as she felt her soul slowly being pulled from her body. Inch by inch, Lydia sank into endless darkness, coldness enveloping her, and just before everything went blank, a silent scream echoed within her.